Let us discuss about adult dacrocystitis. As the name itself indicates, dacrocystitis means inflammation of lacrimal sac. Dacrocystitis is inflammation of lacrimal sac, right? This is seen in adults. Okay, if it is seen in adults, then it is adult dacrocystitis. I already made a video on congenital dacrocystitis. You can also watch that video after watching this lecture. Okay, so if the dacrocystitis or inflammation of lacrimal sac is seen in adults, then it is called adult dacrocystitis. This adult dacrocystitis is of two forms. One is acute adult dacrocystitis, then chronic adult dacrocystitis. In this lecture, we will see chronic adult dacrocystitis. So, in this lecture, we mainly focus on adult, chronic dacrocystitis. Clear? Chronic dacrocystitis. First, we have to know why there is dacrocystitis, why there is inflammation of lacrimal sac. This inflammation is due to obstruction. Due to this obstruction, what happens is accumulation of fluids will take place. Accumulation of tear in the sac will take place. Right? Accumulation of tears will take place. This results in infection. Clear? Then why there is obstruction? That we have to know. This obstruction has got many reasons. If you take anatomical causes, what you see is the reasons could be narrow bony canal. When there is narrow bony canal, that results in obstruction, that ultimately results in infection. Second is when there is partial canalization. When there is partial canalization of nasolacrimal duct, then it results in obstruction. Third one is when there is excessive membranous folds in nasolacrimal duct. Excessive membranous folds in nasolacrimal duct. Okay, these are the anatomical causes. The anatomical causes are narrow bony canal, partial canalization of nasolacrimal duct, excessive membrane folds in nasolacrimal duct. All these anatomical causes will result in obstruction. Other causes include when there is foreign bodies in nasolacrimal duct. When there are foreign bodies, these foreign bodies will obstruct the nasolacrimal duct. Clear? This results in obstruction of nasolacrimal duct, that results in infections. Okay. Third is when there is excessive lacrimation. When there is excessive lacrimation, there will be imbalance between the drainage and the accumulation, the incoming tears. So this results in accumulation of tears. Okay. Fourth one is when there is mild grade inflammation. When there is mild grade inflammation of lacrimal sac. Why do we see this mild grade inflammation? This mild grade inflammation is seen when there are mucus plugs. Mucus plugs due to conjunctivitis. Okay, what we have to understand here is there will be conjunctivitis, right? there will be recurrent conjunctivitis. This recurrent conjunctivitis results in mild grade inflammation of lacrimal sacs. This mild grade inflammation will result in mucus plugs. These mucus plugs will obstruct nasolacrimal duct. Okay, I hope you understood the concept. So let me rewind this concept again. So first there will be conjunctivitis, mainly recurrent conjunctivitis. Right? Clear? Recurrent. Due to this recurrent conjunctivitis, it results in mild grade inflammation of lacrimal sac. Lacrimal sac. This results in production of mucus plugs or epithelial plugs. Epithelial debris, we can say. Epithelial debris. This debris will obstruct the nasolacrimal duct. Clear? Now, the last etiology is when there is obstruction at the lower end of nasolacrimal duct. Okay, lower end of nasolacrimal duct. Lower end of nasolacrimal duct. When do we see this obstruction at the lower end? This is seen when there are nasal diseases. When there are nasal diseases like polyps in the nasal cavity, or when there is hypertrophied inferior concave. Hypertrophied inferior concave. When there is marked degree of deviated nasal septum. Deviated nasal septum. Okay, this should be marked. This should be severe. So when there is severe deviated nasal septum, this results in obstruction at the lower end. Or when there is atrophic rhinitis. Atrophic rhinitis. Okay, all these causes, all these etiologies in nasal cavity will result in obstruction. They are polyps, hypertrophied inferior concave, marked deviated nasal septum, atrophic rhinitis. These four results in obstruction of nasolacrimal duct, that results in accumulation of tears, that further results in infection, that results in inflammation. Clear? So what are the common infections that we see here? The common infections are Staphylococci, pneumococci, streptococci, Pseudomonas, and the last one is Pseudomonas. Clear? So the common infections are Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, Pneumococcus, and Pseudomonas. Clear? So when there is inflammation, this happens in 4 stages, guys. This happens in 4 stages. The first stage is stage of chronic catarrhal dacrocystitis. Stage of chronic catarrhal dacrocystitis. This is the first stage. Second stage is stage of lacrimal mucocele. Stage of lacrimal mucocele. Third stage is stage of chronic suppurative dacrocystitis. Stage of chronic suppurative dacrocystitis. The last stage is stage of chronic fibrotic sac. Clear? These are the 4 stages that we see in the disease. Clear? We will see each one of these. Okay, we'll go in detail into the first. The first stage I told you, stage of chronic catarrhal, right? Stage of chronic catarrhal. catarrhal, chronic catarrhal dacrocystitis. Dacrocystitis. So here what happens is the inflammation will be mild. The inflammation will be mild. Due to this mild infection, what we see is here is redness of inner canthus. Redness at the inner canthus. Sorry, medial canthus we can say. Okay, you can say medial or inner canthus. Only this is the only symptom that we can see. What you can see is medial canthus. Clear? And remaining all normal. We will see the size of the sac will also be normal. Okay, and as there is obstruction, there will be watering, right? Watering will be there. See, this watering will be there in all the stages. Clear? This outflow will be there in all stages, because there is obstruction that ultimately can result in outflow. So what we have to remember at this stage is there is redness at the inner canthus. Okay, redness at the inner canthus, and remaining all the things will be normal. So as there is overflow, so when we syringe, what we get is clear fluid, clear fluid, or some fibrinous mucoid. Fibrinous mucoid. Here one important thing that we have to remember is size will be normal. Size will be normal. Clear? So the positive findings here is, here are, one is redness at the inner canthus. This is the first finding. Second one is when you syringe the nasolacrimal duct, sorry, when you syringe the sac, what you see is you will observe that flow of clear fluid or fibrinous mucoid. This is the second finding. Remaining all things will be normal. The size will be normal size. Clear? These are 3 points that you have to remember in the first stage. The second stage, as I told you, second stage is stage of lacrimal mucocele. Stage of lacrimal mucocele. So here what you see is as the time passes, as the infection remains, what happens is the size of the sac will increase. Size of the sac will increase. Clear? The size of the sac will increase, and there will be epiphora. As I told you, there will be epiphora in almost all the stages. Okay, there will be increase in the size of the sac. When you do regurgitation test, what you find is you will see that there is milk or gelatinous fluid regurgitated back into the lower punctum. Milk or gelatinous fluid. So what you are seeing is, in this stage size of the sac will increase. In first stage what we discussed is the size of the sac will be normal, but in the second stage the size of the sac will increase, because as the time passes there will be accumulation. As the time passes, there will be increased accumulation, right? Due to this there will be increased size. Clear? So as the time passes, the degree of inflammation will also increase, and the accumulation will also increase, and the size of the sac will also increase. Clear? When you do regurgitation test, you will see that milk or gelatinous fluid coming out from the lower punctum. Clear? These are the first findings in second stage. And one more important thing that we have to remember here is, when the inflammation passes or the inflammation increases in its severity, sometimes what happens is this canaliculi, as all of us know what is canaliculi, right? These are the, see, this is punctum, right? These are the canaliculi. and this is the sac of, this is sac, this is eye. Okay, from the eye what you see is tears going into the sac through canaliculi. Okay, these are the canaliculi, these are the puncta, this is the sac. So tear will go through the canaliculi into the sac. Sometimes as the severity increases, this puncta will get blocked, due to this blockage. What happens is the mucus, right, the the secretions, whatever it is, mucus, whatever is there in the sac will get accumulated, right, will get accumulated. And you see, as the canaliculi are blocked, this becomes mucosal, this become mucosal because the canaliculi are blocked. Clear? These are the first findings that you have to remember here. What you have to remember is size increases, the first one. Clear? Second one is there will be milk or gelatinous fluid coming out of the lower puncta when you do regurgitation test. The third one is mucosal. Okay, so in the second stage, these are the three things that you have to remember. In the first stage, what we remembered is redness at the inner canthus, redness at the inner canthus, and size normal, and when there will be epiflora. Actually, the first only one thing that you have to remember in first stage, that is redness at the inner cantha. In second stage, we have to remember three things. First one is size increases, second one is regurgitation test. In regurgitation test you will see milk or gelatinous fluid coming out from the lower puncta. Third one is mucosal. Clear? Then going to third stage. Third stage is stage of chronic suppurative dacrocystitis. Stage of chronic suppurative dacrocystitis, right? Dacrocystitis. So here what happens is you will see suppurative infections. Suppurative infections. So due to this, what we see is this accumulation becomes, the accumulation will convert to pus, right? Or we can say the accumulations becomes purulent. Accumulations becomes purulent. Clear? So in stage of chronic suppurative dacrocystitis, as the time passes, as the severity increases, then the secretions becomes purulent. Clear? Sorry, the accumulations become purulent. This is the first point that you have to remember. And you know, these infections are pyogenic infection, can spread to conjunctiva also at this stage. So you will also see the presence of conjunctivitis. Clear? So here, as the severity increases, sometimes the puncta will get blocked, canaliculi will get blocked, right? So here, as a canaliculi will get blocked, it results in pyocele. Clear? So at this stage we have to remember two things at this stage. One is the accumulations becomes purulent, and second one is it results in pyocele. Clear? These are the two things that you have to remember. See, I told you epifora will always there in all the stages. Clear? The last stage is stage of chronic fibrotic sac. Stage of chronic fibrotic sac. Clear? Here what happens is, as the time passes, this the sac becomes fibrotic. The sac becomes fibrotic. As it became fibrotic, the size decreases. Size decreases. As the size decreases, the capacity of sac decreases. So it cannot hold the tear in its cavity. So the epiphora will be more. Clear? Epiphora will be more. Otherwise, we can say there will be continuous overflow. There will be continuous overflow because the capacity of size has decreased due to fibrosis. Clear? So these are all the stages. What happens if you don't treat this? If you don't treat this condition, what we can observe is it results in recurrent conjunctivitis. It results in recurrent conjunctivitis because you see the sac conjunctiva is very close to lacrimal sac. This infection which is there in the sac can spread to conjunctiva. That results in recurrent conjunctivitis, or we can say intractable conjunctivitis. Clear? So this is the first complication. Second one is, you see there is continuous overflow of tear, right, or continuous epiphora. Due to this, what happens is there takes place maceration of lower lid. There takes place maceration of lower lid, or there will be eczema of lower lid. Eczema of lower lid. So when as there is continuous epiphora, it results in maceration of lower lid and eczema of lower lid. This ultimately results in extropion. This results in extropion. As all of us know, what is extropion? Extropion is outward facing of lower lid. Usually what we see is lower lid will be facing inner side, right, towards the conjunctiva. But in extropion, what we see is the the lower lid will face outward. That means it will show its conjunctiva to the outside. Okay, this is extropion. This is how extropion develops in complicated phase. Third one is, you see, when there is this dacryocystated in chronic forms, or when it is not treated, it results in endophthalmitis. Endophthalmitis in the sense infection of inner contents of eye, right? Endophthalmitis is infection of inner contents of eye. And one more important complication is, see, when there are corneal abrasions, these abrasions will get infected. This results in ulcers of cornea. Okay, when there are corneal abrasion, these will get infected and that results in ulcers. So the complications are four. One is intractable recurrent conjunctivitis. Second one is extropion. Third one is endophthalmitis. Fourth one is corneal ulcers. Okay, these are the four complications. Okay, and one important topic that I forgot to teach you is, there are some people who are predisposed to this chronic dacryocystitis. Predisposition, in whom we can expect this chronic dacryocystitis. If take age, this chronic dacryocystitis is usually seen in 40 to 60 years of age, and preferentially in female. The reason for this is, in females, comparatively there will be narrow lumen of bony canal. Okay, narrow lumen of bony canal. If you take race, negros, these people are at low risk. Hereditary, see, hereditary is one of the important predisposing character, because you see every people will have different facial configuration, right? So this facial configuration will result in some predisposition due to facial configuration. Clear? And socioeconomic status. Socioeconomic status, most of them it is seen in low socioeconomic status people, and it also seen in people who have poor hygienic habits. Poor hygienic habits, right? Then going to the treatment part. Treatment part. When the diagnosis status is recent, then we'll do conservative treatment. Conservative treatment. What is this conservative treatment? Let's see. Conservative treatment is include probing and massaging over lacrimal sac. Massaging over lacrimal sac. This is done because you see, when you massage, you will apply some pressure over sac, right? This pressure will remove the obstruction. Clear? So this is done when the infection is recent. That means when the infection is at its starting level. Then second one is balloon catheter dilation. Balloon catheter dilation. Balloon catheter dilation. Balloon catheter dilation. This is done when there is partial obstruction. Partial obstruction. Okay. When there is partial obstruction, we do balloon catheter dilation. Third one is dacrocystorhinostomy. Dacrocystorhinostomy. Okay, this is in dacrocystorhinostomy. What we do is we'll remove the obstruction in the nasolacrimal duct. Remove obstruction. See, before removing, we should cure the infection. Then after we have to do the surgery. Okay, if you do surgery before treating the infection, then the surgery will become failure. Okay, there will be no use of this surgery. So before going to surgery, we have to treat the infection, then we have to do the surgery. Okay. Fourth option we have here is dacrocystectomy. Dacrocystectomy. That means removal of sac. When do we do this removal of sac? This is done when the age of the patient is very high. That means too old patient, or when markedly shrunken and fibrotic sac. When the sac is markedly shrunken and fibrous sac, or when there is when the infection is tuberculosis or syphilis, or when there is mycotic infection. Or when there are tumors, or when there are gross nasal diseases like atrophic rhinitis. In all these diseases, we will remove the sac. Tuberculosis, syphilis, mycotic infection, tumors, atrophic rhinitis. When the patient is too old, when there is markedly shrunken and fibrous sac, right? In all these conditions, we will remove the sac. Clear? And the last option we have here is conjunctival dacrocystorhinostomy. Conjunctival dacrorhinostomy. Okay, conjunctival dacrorhinostomy. Here what we do is we'll make a canal, or we make a fistula. We make a fistula connecting sac and conjunctiva, we can say. So by making fistula, we can drain tears, right? Drainage, that draining will become more easier. Clear? So we are making fistula between sac and conjunctiva so that the drainage of tears will become normal. Clear? This is about uh, chronic dacrocystitis. Thank you for watching.